control what is in your control. Control what is in your control. Okay, so remember, is sales easy or difficult? To me, sales is both. It's easy and it's difficult. Why is sales easy? Because if you were to strip away all the noise around how difficult sales may be, all the challenges that you may face in sales, all the problems that may come your way, sales only boils down to 4 steps and 4 steps alone. Regardless of product, regardless of service, regardless of industry, sales only comes down to 4 steps, 4 simple steps. 1, you got to have something to sell. You got to have a product, you got to have a service. 2, you have to look for the people who may need what you're selling. 3, you got to tell them about what you have. 4, you got to ask them if they want to buy. And ladies and gentlemen, that's sales. 4 simple steps repeated over and over and over again until the day you no longer want to do sales. The day you no longer want to do sales is when this cycle stops. But until the day you want to stop, this cycle repeats itself over and over again. 4 simple steps. Have something to sell, look for the people who may need it, tell them about what you have, ask them if they want to buy. So what makes sales difficult? At the end of these 4 steps, only 1 or 2 things can happen. The prospect says yes, or the prospect says no. Right? Sure, there may be a third option because the prospect will say maybe, right? But maybe, as we know, will either lead to a yes or a no. And once we receive a yes or no, we now repeat the sales cycle again. We go back to step 1. When we go back to step 1 after a yes, after we close a deal, we close a sale, we go back with positive emotions. We feel on top of the world, we feel good, we feel motivated, we feel pumped up. And this will affect the next cycle positively because our energy is high. We are feeling confident. But when we go back to the sales cycle, when we go back to step 1 after receiving a no, what we carry with us is that emotion of rejection. You see, rejection is both an act and an emotion. Okay, the act of rejection is when someone says no to a product that you are proposing to them. Right? We have all exercised that right to say no before. Think about the time when you were walking around a shopping mall, you are walking around a bus station, and someone walks up to you and asks you if you'd like to sign up for a free HSBC credit card. Okay? When you say no, what you're saying is you are exercising your right to say no. Maybe you don't need another credit card. Maybe you don't want an HSBC credit card. Maybe you don't want to spend that 5 minutes to sit there when all you want to do is go home, right? Whatever the reason it may be, the act of rejection is hardly ever personal. Sometimes it may be because you just don't like the person, right? So when someone says no to you, very likely, more often than not, it is never personal, but they're exercising the right to say no. But the act of rejection will trigger the emotion of rejection from within the person who's trying to sell. And to the person, the emotion of rejection will feel personal, even though the act wasn't personal. And the emotion of rejection will trigger even more emotions from within you, emotions such as doubt, uncertainty. You start questioning your abilities, you start questioning your capabilities, you feel demotivated, you feel dejected. All of these are emotions that will be triggered by the emotion of rejection. So even if you face a no and you go back to step 1, you don't really feel dejected, okay? But always remember this, emotions compound and emotions intensify. You receive your first no, maybe you don't feel it. You compound it with your second no, third no, now you start feeling it a little bit. Fourth no, fifth no, sixth no, you start feeling demotivated. Right? Because emotions compound because you did not address that negative emotion. Think about your will to sell as a flame of a candle. Right? The flame of a candle burns hot, burns bright. But the flame of a candle is also fragile. A slight gust of the wind and the flame can go off. Right? Our will to sell is just like that. right? It can burn bright, it can burn hot, it can be strong, but it's also fragile. We collect enough rejections, that flame can be extinguished. So to me, trying to light up an extinguished flame is a lot harder than protecting that flame from being extinguished. Trying to light up an extinguished flame means you now need a match, you need a lighter, you need a source of fire. But if you don't have that source, how do you reignite that? How do you light up that flame? So when you are feeling demotivated, it's the same way. You will be in this mode of looking for something to reignite that will from within. And it's a lot harder than protecting your flame in the first place. So how do you protect your flame? This is where you've got to know how do you reset your emotions after every no. Not when you're feeling demotivated. Every time you receive a no, you must learn how to reset your emotions. And that is that's really been written in this book. So one whole chapter is about how do you deal with your negative emotions. Right? You've got to know what your triggers are. All emotions require triggers. So if something triggered your demotivation, something can trigger your motivation. If something triggered your sense of doubt and uncertainty, something can trigger your confidence and your sense of certainty. But you need to know what this is for you. Okay?